What are you going to do differently when the next recession occurs? So the last recession, 2007, 2008, 2009, depending on where you were, okay, hit us harder than any recession that we remember in our business lives. Is that fair?
And true, and it also was very sudden as opposed to a gradual decline, and then suddenly you realize you're in a recession. You know, it really had sort of a demarcation point of starting.
Right. It actually started when we all recognized when it started, but it wasn't officially a recession until we'd had X number of quarters, whatever that.
Right. But you know, Lehman Brothers goes out of business, and that's sort of like a target. That was the target.
That was the day.
But and things really changed after that. I mean, with us, with our business, we were. You know, there was sort of a .com slowdown. Things were slowing down anyway from being on high. So we hit, things came along and then fell off. Now, moving forward, I don't think we can use the experience of the last one and say, oh, that's what the next one's going to look like. I think that you have to be in tune with all parts of your business and the economy to basically sort of sniff out those signals before they come and take preventative action before they come.
In the event business, though, you probably, I think you said earlier, maybe 35% of your business is kind of add-on during the period that you're working in?
Well, I mean, looking forward, I know that here we are at beginning of December.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at January projected revenues, what's estimated,
Yeah.
I know by the time we get to February 1, it will be that number plus about 35% as the phone calls come in.
Yeah, we have kind of the same thing. There's like a 45-day window where you're building new business in there. And that is short amount of time to react in.
Right.
As we found out in the last 2 months of 2007, first two of 2008, we took a very big hit in that time, not being totally prepared. We just thought, oh, customers are making up their minds slower, and it was the recession was here. And you know, and for us, it's just being aware of it. We track a few trailing 12-month averages. You know, so we look at trends, you know, and see where things are going. We have a report that we look at as part of our financials called a break-even analysis, and it shows us what areas costs are going up in more rapidly and what areas that the revenue is either gaining or losing ground in as a trend. And that's the nice thing about the trailing 12 months is it doesn't, you know, any one month doesn't sway it, but you can obviously see ups and downs in the curve of things. And you know, I liked how our event team reacted, and you know, we just controlled costs and kept investing in equipment. You know, I said, let's not stop investing. Anybody who panics and pulls out on that is going to be left behind when we pop out of it, and we've got a few $1 million more equipment than they bought during this period of time.
Right. Yeah, I think that's, you can tell the health of the companies by who bought, continued to buy equipment through the recession.
And it's however you tighten your belt to make sure that you do that. Rental companies need new gear. That's the hungry animal that it is.
Right. Well, and the rental aspect needs new gear, but you're a balance sheet company.
Yeah.
The balance sheet needs new gear because you rely on depreciation.
Yeah.
You know, it's a business, a finance tool. So, very, very important point. So, you're probably the only company that I can cite that actually didn't go backwards during the recession, right? Didn't you grow fairly continuously through that?
No, we were,
you may have grown more slowly.
Yeah, our 2009 was tough. I mean, the fourth quarter of 2008 we were flat, and in 2009 we grew, but we grew at I think like 11%. But we've been, you know, we built infrastructure for a different you know, level of growth. You know, I guess you asked what we would do during the next time things go down. I'm not real sure. Because I don't know what the next crisis is going to look like, you know, if God forbid some other 9/11 or something like that. But I think that, you know, I just read something the other day. It said, you know, good times happen because of what you do during bad times. Bad times happen because of what you do during good times. And I think making sure we never had to lay off anybody. I mean, that's our kind of assets, right? And we held on to those, and we came out of it great. You know, I think we went up like 70% the next year. But I think, but it got real thin in there. I think what we need to do is make sure that we've got cash reserves and the access to capital that, you know, we can outlast a big recession. And I think that's our focus right now. So that if you know, if our business is gone for a few months, we can still hold our key people together and assets and make sure that you know, we get out of this better.
Anything you will do differently in the next recession, whatever it may be?
Probably be more aggressive in terms of hardware purchases. You know, I think that you have to go back and you have to look at the advantages of a recession. And there are many. I think we too often focus on the downside. And the advantages are, you know, in an external view, your lesser financed competitors are probably going to slide away. They don't have the staying power, they don't have the client base. They've been getting by on low margins. So, you know, you're going to come out of it much stronger. Number two, the manufacturers get very aggressive in terms of selling equipment and financing it. And number three, you know, and this is a very selfish statement, it gives you cover to do things internally which you couldn't do before. You have marginal employees, you now have a means to terminate them.
I heard a speaker earlier this year say, never let a good crisis go unused.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I hope you appreciate the candor of these owners as much as I do. You know, Rusty shared the importance of buying new gear and the constant capitalization that he's provided for his company, which helped him be stronger coming out of the most recent recession. You know, Murray shared about how we're going to be better at keeping the purchase cycle intact and how he's going to maintain that business. And Mark for just being modest about growing through all the years of the recession, which I think was very, very big of him. So we can't prevent recessions, we can't prevent downturns, but we can learn from them and learn how to do things better the next time. And fortunately, they don't happen all the time, so we tend to forget between downturn and downturn what it is that we had to do. So hopefully we're slowly getting better. Now, I want to remind you, because there's still discussion of the recession, there's still discussion about the state of our economy in our daily dialogues and our rhetoric, and goodness knows all the junk we see on television. The recession's been over for 4 years as of today. There's still a malaise out there, but it's finally lifting, and I think 2014 is the first year that I think we're going to get through it without blaming the recession of 5 years ago on our problems, and that's a good thing. So, if you'll treat every day like a chance to be better for the future, okay, then I think you'll do a better job of being prepared for the recession. And let me give you, I've got 4 things I want you to work on that I think are very important to apply the lessons that we learned in this video. First of all, capital budgeting. I talk about budgets, but capital budgeting is one of the things I spend a great deal of time on with my clients. What capital budgeting is you're funding growth and saving taxes at the same time. In the US and in Canada, our tax code allows us to invest money, write it off a little bit at a time, and grow our companies. It's a fantastic system. You know, it's what the Western economy is all about. But you have to understand how it works, and you have to take advantage of it, which means continual capitalization. You need to buy new equipment if you're a rental company, even in a slow year. If you're a service-based company, you need to invest. You need to invest in marketing. You need to invest in research and development of products and services, even in slow times. So, very important message there. Another message was don't wait for a downturn to fix things. There's a great point in there about how, a downturn is an opportunity to fix or undo decisions of the past. I love that phrase. Let's fix or undo decisions of the past. We don't have to wait for a downturn to do that. That is our job as management. We should constantly be looking for those things. And while it's great to say, okay, I can more easily let some poor performing employees go because there's a downturn and I've got this ulterior excuse, there's no better excuse to let somebody find another job than the fact that they're not performing well. So a lesson from the recession, don't wait for a recession to improve your company. Item number 3, understand your balance sheet. We all quickly figure out the profit and loss statement, the P&L. We got money coming in, we got money going out, we have money left over. And the balance sheet is an area that we don't spend a lot of time in because it doesn't seem to change all the time and it's very hard to understand. And it always balances, so how am I getting any information out of it? Ask your CPA, ask your financial advisor to sit down with you and explain to you the ramifications of the balance sheet and what happens. How can the balance sheet be a better tool for you? And you can be better prepared by leveraging what's available in terms of resources. If you buy new equipment, you take on capital, you borrow money, in other words, lever up, how that affects your business, and eventually how maybe that affects your valuation. So understand your balance sheet, and then understand leading indicators. Recessions don't just happen. We happen to have a particularly big event in the financial services district that really pushed the ongoing recession over the edge. We'd already hit a low point, a downturn in the economy in 2007. The handwriting was on the wall. We were going to go into some sort of recession. We didn't know how big it was going to be until this catastrophic event happened. And the same thing happened back in 2000. We were already moving into a recession in 2000 and 2001 before we had 9/11, which just made it even harder and extended the downturn. So we had leading indicators that said there was going to be an event of some sort that was going to affect our economy and affect our businesses as a consequence. And you've got to learn what those are and how to see them. For most of my clients, we can see it in our business pipeline. When our lead times start to get a little bit shorter, the amount of business I have sold down the road, that pipeline gets a little bit smaller. There are lots of good indicators that are going on there. We can watch our manufacturers. When new products don't get released on a regular basis, when technology slows down, these are usually an indication that money's going to get tight in the very near future. We're a lagging indicator in our industry. So we need to learn what the leading indicators are because we have a head start. Now, the downside of being a lagging indicator is that we're also lagging in the recovery. We're the last to recover. But our recession is still going to be just as long as everybody else's. So this is a pretty big to-do list. There's a lot of things for you to tackle on here, and these are meaty things. These are things that are going to take a little bit of effort for you. But I've got some tools that will help you, and I hope you'll pay attention to them and look into them. We can certainly help with the capital budgeting. We have some resources on the balance sheet, and we always have articles about what are leading indicators and what's going on in the industry to help you look around the corner just a little bit better. So don't forget to share this video and share what you've learned from it with your team. And thanks for watching.